Hopefully we helped. Again, getting down to business Friday. We're going to get down to business right now with Corey Costelloe, Assistant City Manager for the Tehachapi. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm doing well because I'm talking business with the Moneywise guys on Friday. Yeah,
right
and
on.
not sports, as you mentioned.
Most of Bakersfield knows Corey
right.
Costello as the voice of the Roadrunners, the voice of baseball, the voice of all sports. From high school all the way to the Roadrunner baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've
did that for many years, and along the way, though, I'm always a guy who likes to make sure that there's not necessarily an out, but there's another plan.
Yeah.
And through that, I always had a connection to government and politics, and so I received my master's in public administration from CSUB while I was there, and then the opportunity presented itself to go back and work for my hometown and be a part of the city of Tehachapi and its government and the people there, and really help with the economic development, help small business, help developers, real estate, help the city just really plan for the future and have and be a great spot that it is right now. So I'm pretty excited to be able to do that.
Located at an elevation of 4,000 feet in Tehachapi Mountains, the refreshing lifestyle of Tehachapi has made it the jewel of Kern County and a prime location for new and expanding businesses. How's that?
Well, that's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's how when I wrote that, I expected it to be read like that.
Yeah,
so I'm glad,
I know.
I'm glad you nailed it.
Yeah,
You pictured Garrow talking when you were writing it, huh?
Yeah.
For sure.
Nice.
What makes Tehachapi so attractive? I mean, obviously, that has the access to a lot of large markets.
Yeah.
What else?
I think the big thing is we are not dependent on one sector. When oil goes down, we're not affected. When defense contracts are going well, that helps. When they're down, we're not that too negatively affected. We have so many different our folks are supportive of so many different roles because we're located where we're at in Kern County. We're on that border between East and West Kern County, and so we have people that leave. About 70% of our workforce leaves every day. 30% comes back in, mostly to go work at the prison. Oh. But they go out to the desert. They work in aerospace. They work in mining. They're engineers. They're in private space flight, or they come to Bakersfield. They work in oil. They work in business. They work in retail. So we're not dependent. So that's always for the history of Tehachapi. I found an old history book the other day when I was looking it up, and they were talking about Tehachapi, and the Depression was almost depression-proof because they'd made some smart decisions in government, and they weren't relying on one single thing. And that's still the case today. So that's what makes us attractive, and obviously the accessibility to where we're at helps, and our demographics are changing in a very good direction.
Well, some of your community initiatives for smart growth are different types of sectors, like healthcare?
Healthcare right now is unbelievable. Adventist Health, they came in. A hospital bond was passed, a couple of them several years ago, and it was run by the healthcare district. And they built the building, but there were some code changes and things happened along the way. They were at a standstill, and Adventist Health came in and basically took over the building, and they put their own money, millions of dollars, into getting this new hospital open. But that's also opened the door. Once Adventist got in the market, you had other people like Kaiser Permanente open a clinic, Omni Family Health, and just this past week, Dignity Health purchased a retiring physician's practice, and Dignity is going to bring a network of doctors up to Tehachapi.
Oh, okay.
So really, other than curing cancer, the folks in Tehachapi will not have to come to Bakersfield, go to Lancaster, Palmdale to get services anymore, which is amazing, and it's a huge growing sector.
How about in the the commercial and retail development space? I know there's some money being dumped into that space up there too, right?
Just 2 weeks ago, we broke ground after about a 10-year battle on a 154,000 square foot Walmart supercenter. That's going to be a game changer. We have $208 million in retail leakage every year, and that is because people like me, for example, today when I'm done here on this show, I'm going to Walmart to buy groceries, and I'm taking them back to Tehachapi because of what I pay at a grocery store. Yeah.
I like the way you phrased that. Leakage,
retail
meaning
leakage.
It's not being spent there, it's spent down here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And you can even, on one of the things I handed you, there is a retail leakage sheet. You can see where some of the money is being spent, of what the people in Tehachapi spend and where they spend it. So what we're trying to do is that $208 million, that keeps me up at night. So I'm trying to figure out how to keep more of that money local so we can use that tax dollars to help our local citizens and residents. So things like Walmart, which are expected to bring in about $300,000 a year in sales tax, that's going to help, and that's going to help cut into some of those retail leakage numbers. So doing that big project is going to be a game changer. And then on top of that, we've got, when Walmart comes into a market, they bring about a 45% increase in business licenses because people follow. Other businesses follow them. We've got out parcels on their site that are going to be separate businesses. Up the street, we've got a 14,000 square foot center anchored by an orthodontics, Snow Orthodontics, but they also have got some retail space available there. So, and then across the street from that Walmart, there's a new retail center that's in planning as well. So that has already attracted more people to start investing in the community, and those will all help kind of bring down that retail leakage number.
So obviously it's very important, and I want to hear your opinion on obviously partnering with the right businesses. And what do you, especially like let's say the franchises, the popular franchises, is that important up there as well?
It is, and I think the name, and we just did a study, a study was done recently about the top, the strongest brands in America, the 75, and 5 of the top 10 are already in Tehachapi, been doing business for a while. Because
let me name one. McDonald's.
Exactly. That's number one, actually. So
Is it?
Good job. But, we've got things like Remax and Keller Williams Realty and those kind of things. Those people have been around for a while. But what I think the term franchise sometimes gets a negative connotation in a small town. But what a franchise really is, it's a parachute to almost not fail. Yeah. Because the franchise does not want you as a franchisee who's put up your money, who's probably put up some real estate, to fail. And they're going to help you all they can. And so really the era of a mom-and-pop business is really tough right now. But you can get that support from a franchise. So what we do is, people come in and if you're zoned correctly and they look at the numbers and they realize, we probably don't need, one thing we have plenty of is auto parts store and gasoline stations. So obviously they might not be looking there, but they're looking at where money's being spent, how they can probably help do it. So that with those folks, we definitely speak with the franchisees and we speak with we were just at ICSC in Las Vegas, the big International Council of Shopping Centers, where we met with a lot of people.
There is one?
What's that?
That's cool that they have
the largest retail convention in the world.
Is that right?
In Las Vegas.
All
There's
right.
another one in L.A. coming up in October. I'll be going to as well to have a few meetings. But it's a spot where you meet with the right people and you try to pretty much just pitch your market.
One of the really cool things, we love Tehachapi, by the way. We go out to the desert, we play out in the dirt out there as families in camp, and so we always stop in Tehachapi on the way there. And you have a very neat little kind of historic district. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance out growth and I agree with you with the franchise thing, but it kind of starts to pull away from kind of that historic district that you guys kind of have? How do you guys balance that out?
It's a great, the way we have it, our downtown historic district, that is your antique shops, your quilts, your small, mom and pop restaurants, and those have their own niche. And I think small business itself is a niche. What we do with we're not going to open a McDonald's right in the middle of downtown. That's going to go on the Tucker commercial corridor where that's where a lot of the commuters are at too. Because most of the franchises, what do they want? They want traffic. They want car counts. That's all they care about. How many people are within a 60-mile radius and how many cars are going to drive by my business every day? Right. Well, downtown, they don't get that number per se. But on our Tucker corridor where people are leaving and they're coming into the city, they're going out to the outlying county areas, which, by the way, they're not part of the city limits, but they're dependent on the city because that's where all the retail and the services are at. So they want that area. So we're able to really plan to keep a lot of those in the Tucker corridor, out in the Capitol Hills area, and the downtown keeps kind of that quaint small town downtown feel because there's really not a place for the giant corporation just because that doesn't meet their demographic.
Right.
Wow, Corey Costelloe, ladies and gentlemen, assistant to the city manager for Tehachapi. He's our guest today. It's Getting Down to Business Friday, and we're getting down to business with him as you've heard him before in the sports world. I got to tell you right now, the way he's kicked off this show already with this interview, home run. All right, we'll be right back with Corey Costelloe.
It's business. It's business time.
The news and talk of Kern County, 1180, and the new 96.1 KERN.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
Welcome back.
No, I stand my ground.
Moneywise, guys, is Getting Down to Business Friday. We're getting down to business right now with Corey Costelloe, assistant to the city manager of Tehachapi. City manager of Tehachapi is?
Greg Garrett.
Greg Garrett. And he's I bet he's happy to have you.
Yeah, well, I'm happy.
he
I'm
told
happy
you
to
that?
be there. Yes, he has.
Yes?
Yeah.
If not,
he
he's
has.
going to get a phone call.
He's told other people too because it's a small town, like
Right.
I mentioned to you off air, and other people tell me that he's happy to have me. So that's good to know.
Right on, right on. Hey, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, first of all, if you're getting all these businesses going up there, there's only so many people for those jobs up there.
Yeah.
I would think unemployment would be down right now.
We are at 6% right now.
Okay.
and that's it. I mean, it's super low. Basically, everybody who wants a job has a job because of our eligible workforce. We do have some retirees and stuff, but of our eligible workforce, 6%. That's it. So
And
if you're
I can-
hireable, you have a job.
I would think it's going to come down even lower.
Oh,
then.
absolutely.
Right?
We are actually importing workers heavily, especially when Walmart opens up. communities like Roseman, California City, even Lancaster, Palmdale will bring workers into Tehachapi because we just don't have the bodies up there to fill the jobs.
Yeah.
So that's something we actually worry about. We got all these businesses, and we're thinking, shoot, who's going to work there? We need people to come up and work. So.
Well,
Is there,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, is there even like a I don't know if there's a ratio how they cut, but is there an apartment area? Do you guys have apartments, or is it mainly more single?
Most of our housing is single family. We do have there are some apartment buildings, some older and some newer. We are targeting multifamily residential more so on the townhome and condo variety because we are getting that retired population that might have lived out in the Bear Valley Springs area of Tehachapi or Stallion Springs where they had some land and horses, and now they're thinking, gosh, I'm too old to maintain this. I'd like to live closer to everything, my grandkids, stuff like that. So we're looking at some of those condo development type of stuff, townhomes, well-done developments that'll actually kind of put more rooftops up and put more people under one roof.
Economic development is obviously very, very, very important. We have even the Kern Economic Development Corporation here in town.
Richard Chapman, great individual.
Yeah, he is. He's got the best sense of humor ever.
He does.
If you understand it,
right.
You have to if you
I've
didn't
laughed
understand
at many of his jokes.
Yeah, if you didn't know Richard Chapman and you have to really get to know his sense of humor first, you'll get to know him right away, and he's funny as heck.
Exactly.
But initially, you're like, is something wrong with him?
So I need a whiteboard. And he has to do some explaining. Of some of his jokes.
Right.
I'm used to Dumb and Dumber slapstick humor.
Let's go to the phone lines. 842-5376. That's 842-KERN. You can always text a question to us at that same number. Just put 661 in front of it. Again, 661-842-5376. Let's go to line 55. It's Stan with a question. How you doing, Stan?
Oh, pretty good. I just came in on the middle of this conversation. I had a question. What happens to Kmart when it opens up?
Good question.
When
That's
Walmart
one of the questions.
opens up, I mean, it just goes away?
No, actually, here's the thing, and Kmart as a whole, with the Sears Corporation, as you're probably well aware, is struggling, and they just had another list of Kmarts that are closing come out yesterday. Ours isn't on it for now. But what's going to happen is, we've actually had conversations with that building owner. The owner is actually excited about the Walmart opening up because he knows he can now take his building, he's planning to subdivide it, renovate it, and attract new tenants. So there's a lot of folks that think, oh, this is going to, that they buy into the internet stereotypes that Walmart creates shutters, and they really don't. They create opportunity. And so that's actually going to be an opportunity for more retail to follow and actually have another use of that building. We've had meetings with potential companies that are already eyeing and targeting that building. So there's big things on the horizon for that building should it close once its competition opens up.
Yeah, now on if Kmart or Sears Corporation Sears Holdings stepped in and say, hey, we're going to put $50 million into this new Kmart up here at Tehachapi to compete with it. Just let it be. Let it happen.
Absolutely.
And that's only going to be good. So like if they want to compete, let them compete. Problem with Sears is they're struggling right now.
Right.
And you don't want a struggling store in your I mean, you don't necessarily.
They're going to look at that when they do their
next.
next round.
Yeah.
When they do their next round of cuts, they may say, okay, we have a, but then like you said, the tenant.
And that
Go
is
ahead.
true because the one in Kmart in Moscow closed down, the one in Bakersfield closed down.
Taft just closed as well. Yeah. No, it's definitely happening. But here's the beauty of it. See, California, it's very hard to build in California. The state has done us no favors. But what we're seeing is more and more of these major retailers, they want refurbished space. I mean, look around Bakersfield, what's happened to the closed retailers, who's come in and redone them. I mean, I was just driving up here and I saw, obviously Home Goods has been open for a while, but they took that former drugstore and they're putting new signs up today. They're replacing some. But anyway, that was one of those examples. And we see that around Bakersfield a lot. So the same thing happens. It's cheaper to renovate in terms of permitting and cost in this state for a major retailer. So when you have those buildings closed, it's an opportunity.
So when you're talking about economic development, there has to be certain demographics involved for business to attract businesses up there. As Richard Chapman so eloquently tells us every time, there's studies have to be done, and when you approach other businesses, well, let me sell you on Tehachapi. What were some things you're seeing at Tehachapi, demographics or whatnot, logistics? What are you seeing up there that makes it attractive?
We're seeing a lot of the sort of influx. I mean, you've got a lot of people that are leaving California, but then you've got a lot of people in California that might have been from Southern California. Their houses now are worth a fortune in Southern California. They like to move to our area because they can buy more for less.
Yeah.
Our housing prices are up, but it's still very affordable compared to Southern California. We're getting a lot of those folks moving in, and so that's raising our demographic profile. I tell my boss all the time, the 2020 census for us is going to be a game changer because our educational attainment levels are going to be higher. The people that we brought in are going to have a higher income level, and that's what's the attractive part. We met with a retailer who said, you guys do not meet our numbers within a certain radius, but your income level is much higher than what we normally deal with. So we think your income level of your residents is going to make up for the fact that there's not as many people because you tend to spend more. And that's what happens is we've got people that spend money. And we're finding these companies that are starting to open up satellite offices. Advanced Network Solutions was a good example. They're based out of Bakersfield. They just opened a Tehachapi office. We've had 3 new telecommunications companies open Tehachapi offices because of the opportunity, the access to to Highway 58, and then really an untapped market. And that's kind of what we're targeting now is you've got businesses in Bakersfield especially. They're opening up different franchises and different branches all over. And we're saying, hey, we've got an opportunity and a need for you up the hill a bit and come give us a look.
And when you're talking about, do you have a question, Chris? I'm sorry.
Nope.
When you have when you're trying to attract individuals to your town, do you have like relocation packets and who works on all that stuff? I mean, we're down in Bakersfield. Well, we know we have the Kern Economic Development Corporation. Yeah. Everything's up, really kind of high class, and you guys are just as high class.
Well, we're dealing with, I deal with a lot of that stuff. I'll put those packets together. KEDC, we have the East Kern Economic Alliance, which is underneath KEDC.
Okay.
And so all of us in East Kern meet, and we're very involved with KEDC. We're very involved with the Greater Antelope Valley Economic Alliance. So Northern LA County, Eastern Kern, we come together. We have a lot of help from them down there as well. They put together some things for us in demographics. So we get a lot of support because of our location, which is great. And then our Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Tehachapi Economic Development Council, they're on board completely. And it's a great working relationship between a lot of organizations to get the job done.
So obviously some of your goals up there to attract and is not only to attract, but to retain
Retract,
businesses.
attain, and expand. Yep.
Okay, say it again.
Retract, attain, and expand. We want those companies that are already in Kern County expand to Tehachapi.
So not only engage existing businesses to attract retail opportunities, like you said, there's a lot of leakage. I love that word.
Retail leakage.
Leakage is where you have retail sales in your community, but there's not enough supply to meet that demand, so they go down to Bakersfield, they go elsewhere, and that spend it in, which it's all part of Kern County, which is cool. But
unless they go to LA County to Palmdale, Lancaster, and then that money goes down there because we're in a spot where we're 40 minutes in either direction.
Wow. Corey Costelloe, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, for mayor or something. I don't know. Maybe start promoting that now in a couple of years, huh? Ladies and gentlemen,
stuff.
Corey Costelloe.
Good
Yeah, it was really good stuff, Corey. You're so well spoken. We knew that anyway because you got a lot of experience in radio anyway. But you have a public relations degree.
I got that, and I got the public administration as well. Yeah,
right.
Corey, if you can figure out a way to stop the wind, my wife said she might move to Tehachapi.
All right,
so
I'll see what I can do. Got to turn those fans off on the hill, right? That's what everyone says.
We're the Moneywise guys. Thank you, Corey Costelloe, Assistant Manager, City Manager of Tehachapi. We're the Moneywise guys. Be smart, be safe. Most of all, be Moneywise. See you next week.
The Moneywise radio program is hosted by financial advisors from SCF Securities, Inc. If you would like more information about Kern's Moneywise experts, visit their website at moneywiseguys.com or call 661-847-1000. Securities offered through SCF Securities, Inc., a registered broker-dealer member, FINRA, SIPC. SCF Investment Advisors, Incorporated is an SEC-registered investment advisor.